paranormal. It surrounds us. It's everywhere. Tonight, you will hear from the people who live and work within these highly active locations, all in the efforts to discover America's most haunted. With your host, ghost hunter and author, Dan Terry.
Good evening, boys and ghouls. I am Dan Terry, your ghost host with the most haunted. And we've got a really, really special guest this time. And we're going to go all the way across the country from where I'm at to California. And I'm going to introduce you to Tawney Lewis. Now, Tawney is an amazing investigator with an incredible history. She's Los Angeles-based paranormal investigator, a researcher, intuitive medium, spiritual teacher. We'll be talking about what that all means. She's had 13, 14 years of experience, great people behind her, helping her and teaching her. She's been to the old Montana State Prison, which, you know me with prisons, I got to get there. The Whaley House, very famous place. She's also been on Tubi's Scariest Places in America and the sequel. Famously Haunted, Hollywood, that's all on Tubi. And she's got a new series coming out. It's called My Haunted Hometown. She's really excited about that, and it sounds incredible. And I believe that'll be on Tubi also. So without further ado, let's bring up Tawney Lewis.
Hello.
Hey, Tawney.
Hi, how are you today?
Fine. I'm so glad you could make time with your busy schedule to come in here.
No, thank you very much for having me. I really appreciate it.
Well, I'm glad you could make it. There is so much information you sent me about yourself and the incredible people who's helped you all along. Can you tell us more about some of these folks that really helped you get to where you're at?
Yeah, what's funny, I was going to talk about kind of like how I started in the paranormal, but that person that helped me is actually like very like private, so I can't even bring them up, but that's okay. I started about 13, 14 years ago, but I always tell everyone that I actually am afraid of the paranormal. It's a big fear of mine. It really is. I was terrified of hauntings and aliens and UFOs, all that. It's a big fear, but instead of running away from it, I decided to learn everything I could about it. It was very, I don't know, I was drawn to it to just kind of, it's unexplained, you know? And so years ago, I started doing a lot of ghost tours here in Los Angeles. There was one in particular where I went to the tours constantly. And finally the founder, they said, you should join my team. And I was like, really? Like, yeah, join my team. It was only like a 6-person team. And I did. And I learned how to use all the tools. I learned about investigating, all the basics. I got to see a lot of cool places around Los Angeles County. So that was great. And that's a experience, and I'm very grateful for, because I was able to kind of get my footing there. I joined another team in Los Angeles County years later. However, I left that team because it became more about the show and making things up. And I was like, yeah, I'm not about that. And so
my respect then.
Yeah. I was like, this is not what I signed up for. I genuinely just want to investigate. And that's kind of where I started. And then the intuitive aspect came in only fairly recent, like 5 or 6 years ago. I have a spiritual mentor. Her name is Lisa Williams. She used to have a few TV shows on Lifetime a long time ago, like 15, 20 years ago. Okay. And she is, in addition to being an amazing psychic medium, she's also a paranormal investigator. And so it was cool to kind of learn both sides from her. And so that's kind of where I started. That's me in a nutshell, basically.
Well, like I said, the things you've done in this short period of time is just incredible.
Yeah.
And of all these shows, Tubi, you were on Scariest Places in America, and was it Scariest Places in the World?
Yeah, so the Scariest Places in America, that was cool because, again, just minding my business in life, and a producer reached out to me and said, you're different, you're cool, we would like to have you on the show. And I was like, oh, okay. And, I tell people that I've never looked for fame. I've never looked. It's just kind of started falling in my lap naturally, and so I was like, wow, yeah. And so yeah, I did Scariest Places in America, and they actually invited me back, which I really appreciated because they did not invite like everybody back. And I did Scariest Places in the World, which is me basically talking about haunted locations around the world, the United States as well, getting my insight into what I think is actually going on. What's cool is for the Scariest Places in America, a few of those places I've been to, whereas the world I have not. So I can't wait. Most of the places I was like, I want to go there. And then there's a new series called Famously Haunted Hollywood, which airs on Tubi on October 9th. And that one means a lot because I lived in Hollywood for about 3 years and very, very familiar with it's just the area and the hauntings there. And so to be able to talk about it was really, really cool. And I think it's going to be a fun series.
And some of these places you'd actually been to and investigated yourself.
Absolutely. What's cool is for Scariest Places in America, the one that I had wanted to go to, and I had not have been by the time it filmed, was the Lizzie Borden house. Okay. And that was the first one, I think, when the show comes on, I'm talking about. And I'm like, I want to go, I want to go, I want to go, I want to go. And I got to go. I went exactly a month ago. I drove an hour and a half south in Boston to Fall River. And it was amazing and it was worth it. And it was a cool location. And I wanted to beat myself up because I couldn't stay overnight because I had to go to Salem and they have an intense ghost tour, a ghost hunt. There you go. And I didn't get to investigate it. So that's okay. I'll make it a point to go back next year. So.
Well, I was going to ask what happened, but apparently you didn't get to do it.
Didn't get to do it, but I will say to anyone who has not been in the Lizzie Borden house, in addition to it just having a lot of intense energy, it's just a cool place. Like just the area it's in, the house itself, there's a museum in the back. The docents that work there are incredible. The tour was great. It was all like, I left like, wow, I cannot wait to come back here. Before my tour, I did drive to the grave of Lizzie Borden, which was maybe 5 minutes down the road. Okay. And I filmed it, and it's her with all of her family. There's a whole bunch of pennies and a lot of change that's laid on top of her grave. But that was cool for me to be able to go and visit that. But just anyone that's interested in the paranormal, I would highly recommend to go to that house.
When you went to the cemetery by the graves of her family, who she allegedly may have murdered, did you feel anything?
I tried not to because I was by myself.
Okay.
I tried not to. I knew that was coming because I was like, oh, here we go. Oh, here we go. Oh, I'm by myself. There's nobody else around here. Okay, I'm just going to try to do this. And so I purposely just paid respect and rushed up the steps because it's up some steps and put some change on her grave and then did a little prayer and ran. And so back to my rental car.
Now, when you do this, you go there and filmed it. Is there any place people can see these videos?
For Scariest Places.
Oh, is that where it was? That you filmed it for the show? Oh
no, I apologize. I'm so sorry. No, I went to Lizzie Borden house just to go. I had some travels this past August. I went. Oh my God, I did like a whirlwind tour, almost the East Coast actually. I was everywhere. I was in New York City. Then I went to, I went to Salem and Boston, and then I went to Lilydale, New York, because I got to teach a paranormal class. Okay. And then I went to Washington, D.C., and then I went to Williamsburg. I went to Gettysburg. I was out on the East Coast for about 2 weeks, and it was amazing because I got to investigate a lot of cool places I had never been to before.
Now, you've got to share what happened. Did you have any adventures when you was in Gettysburg or any of those places?
Oh my gosh. Okay. Yes. Gettysburg. And I think you're the first person I got to talk to about this because it was only a month ago, that I was back. But I brought my sister with me, who is a complete skeptic. She thinks we're all crazy. She believes in none of this. And she went with me to Gettysburg, and we did an actual ghost investigation with an experienced investigator there who was great. We used a spirit box. She gave me some tools to pull out that my sister connect with. And she was blown away because we were getting clear as day answers from a soldier from Gettysburg. From memory, he said that he was a Union soldier. He said that I think his name was David think so.
Okay.
He was blonde. He had blonde hair. She's asking him questions, and he's clearly responding to us. And my sister's also a denying psychic, and she felt like something was wrong with his arm. And she says, "I feel like is your arm okay?" And he says, "I fell on it." And she was freaking out. She's like, "There's someone responding to me." She could not explain this, which is what I love for someone who's an absolute skeptic.
Right.
What really got her, though, is she says, she was trying to test it. She says, "Who's the president of the United States right now?" Hoping that she would give him, and he says, "President Lincoln." And she threw that spirit box away.
Really?
She's like, "Okay, he's responding to me. He just said President Lincoln. Oh my God." And so that was, in addition to her freaking out, I thought it was an amazing experience because I've always wanted to do that at Gettysburg. I wanted to get a lot of good evidence. And I would say in my time of being an investigator, that was probably some of the best evidence I've ever heard. And I wish we had filmed it. It didn't film it. I think it's because I had the spirit box. She didn't know how to use it. I was kind of showing her like, this is what you say and this is what you do. And the other investigator was helping other people. It was like a lot happening, and that was incredible. And so that's a really fun story that I'm probably going to always tell everybody because that was. Yeah.
But we were first. How about that?
Yeah, you guys were first because I haven't. It was fun.
And Williamsburg?
Oh, I love Williamsburg. So I first went there about 10 years ago, but it was for work. I was in the area and I just wandered over there and was like, wow, this place is cool. And then I left, I think the next morning. I spent maybe an hour there. And so I made it a point that when we went this year, I was going to be there all day. And so we went, I was there literally on a Friday all day, went back at night for a ghost investigation. That one was weird. It was another experienced investigator, a small group, which was perfect. But I don't know, there were a lot of different spirits there. I remember I really love using the dowsing rods at times, and they would not work for one part of the investigation, which is not normal for me. And I felt, everybody has their theories. I felt it didn't work because there was something there that I was not supposed to be communicating with. I don't know how to explain it. It's just my experience of doing this for years. It was like, I was like, are these broken? What, hello? Like, what is going on? Like, they always work for me. And I said, you know what? I'm going to trust it because it initially was working for others with us. But for me, nothing was happening. I said, you know what? I'm going to cease this communication right now. But no, we walked oh my gosh, we went around the entire property. I'm trying to think if anything in particular stood out. We got a few EVPs. We did spirit box. And so I would say it was decent. It was just odd because we went to so many different locations in Williamsburg. We didn't get anything substantial to where I lived. Kind of like Gettysburg, where I was like, oh my God, this one was like, that was cool. I think with Williamsburg, I need to be there longer. Just because it was fairly brief, whereas Gettysburg, I think we were out there for about 4 hours. For Williamsburg, it was maybe a little under 2 hours. And so, I didn't get to like really experience what is there because I know there's a lot there.
Sounds like you had a good time in both places. Where else did you hit?
Oh gosh, let's see. Went to New York City. Did not do an investigation there. I have not done one yet. I did a ghost tour with an amazing tour guide. So he gave me more insight into like the area, and I think it's called Liberty Square or Union Square. I forget. I'm not from there. And he took me on the tour, and I just learned a lot more about New York City. And then after that, when I went to Salem, now I hate saying this. I hope I don't get dinged. I loved Salem.
Okay.
However, I felt like they focused too much on the witches there, too much about the witch trials, and which is fine. It happened.
That's what they got. Yeah.
It was a moment in history. I get it. However, the city is absolutely beautiful. There's over 300 years of history there, and I feel like they only focus on that 1 year of the witch trials, and I was kind of like, I want to talk about other things. Like, let's talk about the hauntings, and no one was talking about the hauntings. And then all the ghost tours that I did see walking around, oh God, we're 30 or 40 people deep. Yeah. And so I thought, am I really going to enjoy it? Am I really going to get to investigate? And there was one investigation that was happening on the Thursday, but I left Thursday morning. So I did not get to do it. And so I didn't get to do a ghost tour or anything, but I did get to tour it and walk around and just take in all the history and take a lot of photos. And I thought it was absolutely beautiful. I just wish there was more focus on the ghosts. It was witches.
Well, those so-called witches are probably ghosts now. At least some of them I know.
True, very true. It was just, I was like, oh, like there was a witch museum, and that one was okay. It was a few witch museums, and I was like, I wish that we were focused on more things, but otherwise, I would absolutely recommend it. I thought it was a cool place, and I would love to go back.
I was in New Orleans last year, which I go there a lot, but there were, I think, 3 voodoo museums.
Yeah.
So much else going on in that town.
Yeah.
Vampires and ghosts and Rougarou and all this neat stuff.
I love New Orleans. Oh, I love New Orleans.
Have you ever got to ghost hunt down there?
I have not ghost hunted, but I've been, nope. Oh my gosh. One of the most important ones. I just said I have not ghost hunted. I have. Why would I forget that? No, I've been to New Orleans a few times. I love the food. I'm obsessed with the history. I've driven down to see a few of the old plantations that are still standing. I love the myrtles. I found out people can stay overnight there. I don't know why they would, but good luck.
I stayed overnight there, but in one of the side buildings.
My God.
It was I think they called it the stables, but it was really nice little apartments. We found nothing there. I had no luck at all.
Over there. Okay. Oh my gosh. One day, but I'm like, oh my gosh, I don't want to stay overnight. But I investigated. I want to say it's called I'm gonna get it wrong. It might be St. Vincent's Guest House. What it looked like is that it was in the French Quarter. And it was, it used to be something. It used to be either like a convalescent home or like it was something, and then they turned it into apartments. That's what it was. And it was years ago, and that's why I couldn't remember. But that was actually the moment where I realized I may have had intuitive gifts. It was when I was there. There was an investigator saying there's a nun who used to live in this room, and she died when she was in her 90s, and she haunts it. And he gave us this whole story. And I was sitting there with the rest of the group thinking, I don't know why there's no nun in here. I feel like there's a lady and she's about 25. And I was getting I was getting all this information. I was like, she has brown hair and she's a nurse. And I'm sitting there like, why am I picking up what is happening? Am I making this up? And we continued to tour. The investigation. And later a second investigator, he said, hey, we picked up a lot of information from the spirit box. There's a lady. She said she was a nurse. She committed suicide. She said she was 25. And that was the moment where I said, oh my God. Because it was the same thing he was picking up from his group. And when I left New Orleans, that's when I thought, maybe there's more to this that I'm not like tapping into. And so later that summer is when I started to take classes on intuition. And I had a few teachers say, I think you might be a medium. And I was like, no, I'm not. I'm sorry. I don't know why you're making things up. I'm not a medium. I was making this up. And it kept saying it. And then initially I was like, okay, well then let's see what this is about. And so that is one of the reasons why I say intuitive medium, because I feel strongly I'm intuitive. However, the mediumship aspect is something that just happens to be there. If it wants to come in during investigations, great. And then I'm not actively I'm not like a full-time psychic medium where I don't charge schedule clients or charge them. It's just not really like a passion. My passion is the paranormal and investigating. Okay.
You mentioned earlier UFOs. Have you done any work that, or are you pretty strictly ghosts?
Everything. I find extreme interest in UFOs. And the reason why I kind of tap into that a little is because I teach paranormal. And one of the first things I always talk about is I say to people, everyone thinks, oh, paranormal's ghosts, paranormal's hauntings. I'm like, actually, no, there's a million things that are involved in that, which includes extraterrestrials and cryptids and folklore and time travel. And I go into like details, and then I touch a little bit on every single subject, but the heavy focus is actually ghosts and haunting, and then going more into that. But yeah, I find I'm still kind of scared of UFOs, extraterrestrial, but a little like the grays. However, I just make sure I'm up to date, that I know like what's going on or little things about it. But yeah, I find it really interesting, as well as cryptids as well.
Okay. The producer of the show, my show, his name is Race Hobbs, and he used to be big in the UFO field. He put on the big conference in Arkansas. He worked with Linda Moulton Howe on a series, and big time guy, but he's scared to death of ghosts. He said, UFOs, I'm there. Ghosts, I'm the other way. Don't stop me. I will hurt you.
That's awesome. We should be friends. No, and I still am. It's my friend laughs at me where I'm like, hey, I'm going to do an investigation in another city. Can you come with me so that I'm not scared to go to sleep? He's like, are you kidding me? You're what is happening? However, there's been times where I'm by myself and I'm traveling, but I want to do that investigation and I do it. I'm fine, but then I'm like, oh, I'm uncomfortable after I come back. I'm getting better at it. I'm getting used to it. So
after 14 years now,
exactly.
And you haven't been hurt yet, right?
I always tell everyone that. I say, people like, is something going to hurt me or scratch me? And I say, listen, I've been doing this for a long time. And my approach, I think, is a really good approach. And I've never been scratched. I've never been attacked. I've never been followed. I've never been nothing negative. I've always set an intention on why I'm doing this. And I genuinely, as a joke, I'll say I'm just doing this to be nosy because I love to learn about the history, the property, and who the person is and their story, and that's genuinely why I do it. There's no other reason. I'm not trying to provoke or anything. So
okay. Oh, I've been bit, scratched, shoved, kicked. It's just part of the fun, but I've never been hurt.
Yeah, exactly.
There's a bruise, there's a mark. It's gone in a day. God. No big deal.
Oh my God! I have to ask though. I know you're talking to me, but what location did you get the most physical touch?
Probably Waverly Hills in the psychiatric area. That's they did not like me in there. Missouri State Penitentiary. They had some really angry people in there.
My gosh.
One of them was a guard, and he had been murdered by a prisoner.
Oh my God.
And he stayed there until the prisoner died and then keeps him in the cell.
No.
60 years later. And I said, don't you want to cross over? And he told me, yes, he did.
Oh.
Well, why don't you go? He goes, because he's not going anywhere.
Oh. Oh.
Talk about creating your own hell, right?
Yeah. Holy smokes. Wow.
So I've been in a few pretty decent places, but if you got Salem, you got me beat. I haven't been there yet. I haven't been to Lizzie Borden's yet.
That's cool. I can't. I can't wait to go back next year. It was cool.
And how about Midwest? Or I know you've been to Montana. You said you had a story out of the old Montana prison.
Oh yeah, I'm so disappointed. I'll send you the photo later. I'm so sorry. I forgot about it. During the pandemic, actually, in 2020, I went with a team to Montana State Prison. Randomly, I don't know why I was in Butte, Montana. It was so weird, but I went to go because again, I just love to investigate, and so I will tell anyone that investigates Montana State Prison that they need to allow at least 2 days. Massive. We only were there 7 hours. And so we didn't really get as much, evidence as we would have liked to. However, it's very, oh gosh, I don't even know where to start. As we were doing a tour of the facility, we were walking and I saw a blonde man. So I was not even tapped in. I was just like, okay, I think there's a prisoner walking over here. Oh gosh. And he was blonde and he had on the prisoner. And he said, this isn't right. I don't understand why this happened to me. And he's just going on. I'm pretending like, I hear you. I don't hear you. I don't hear you. And he was like, he's like, this is not fair because they were involved too. And I'm remembering pieces of it. He's like, they were involved too. And this is not right. And I remember I just wrote it down. So as we're doing a tour, I was just like, let me just write this down. And then later, long story short, we found out that there was a prisoner. I can't remember his name. There were 3 of them that created a riot in the tower at the prison. Okay. And it was a bazooka was sent through the tower to stop it because they were all going crazy and didn't know what else to do. And they needed to blame someone. There were 3 of them involved. 2 of them were not guilty or they were released or something, and then one of them they hung. Okay. One of them hung, and I was like, oh gosh, I wonder if that was him, which I think it might have was because this was years ago, but I remember that they said this was the area that we used to like. I think they used to do hang. I can't remember, again, it was a while ago, but That was cool. That was when I initially got there, and then later that night, we didn't get a lot of evidence except as we were leaving the jail cell area, just something said, take a picture down the hall, just randomly. And I'm just like, whatever, grab my cell phone, snap a picture, left. On the flight home, something's like, check your phone. I was like, oh, let's see what I have. Oh, dear God, I'm on a plane. I'm stuck. I'm scared. And it was like, oh, what do I do? What do I do? And there's clear as day, and I'll send this to you later. Clear as day, eyes staring at me at the end of the hall.
Really?
Yeah, I show people in my classes. I'm like, this is literally just an iPhone photo that I just snapped, and you can clear as day see eyes looking at me. I remember not going down there. I'm glad I didn't, because clearly there was something down there that, well, wanted attention, because I felt something was like, take a picture. But I use that now. And so I would recommend definitely the Ghost Hunters, Montana State Prison, but 2 days. Absolutely. The owners were lovely. They were great. I remember they were super friendly. They said Ghost Adventures had recently been there. So I had been there. I went in 2020. I think Ghost Adventures was there in like 2019. But cool place. And also one of the places in my career of doing this is I felt sick. I rarely ever feel sick. Rarely. But there I was like, and my stomach hurts. Okay. So that usually tells me that there's a lot of darker negativity spirits, which I usually don't encounter. But that place has plenty, which I'm sure is a jail. I was like, oh, I don't feel well. And so just be aware if you're someone that's like super, super sensitive, come prepared with lots of water, or just make sure you take breaks and step outside. So.
All right. Well, Tawney, we got to take a quick break ourselves. So it's not because of your stories, because I'm finding them exciting. But I will be right back. Would you hold on for just a minute for me?
No problem.
All right. This gal's got some energy, hasn't she? I love listening to her because she gets so excited, kind of like I used to with ghost hunting and all of that, and still do if I get a really good place. So this has been a really fun interview already. And friends, there's a couple things, as she mentioned, about taking a break. Would you watch these? And I will be back in just a minute.
The Onyx Network presents a health and wellness spiritually based brand of hemp-derived CBD products made by Hopewell Farm in Harrogate, Tennessee. We apply our Cathara energy work with all of our plants and products. Our products made in small batches with only 2 ingredients of pure hemp, full spectrum crude oil, and coconut-derived MCT oil. Third-party lab tested for potency and legal THC levels with 6 strengths of 1 ounce oil to choose from. Know what you're buying and get what you pay for from Hopewell Farm. Applied directly to a specific area, Hopewell Farm topical salve in 1 ounce and ½ ounce sizes made with pure hemp crude oil, comfrey extract, and all natural ingredients. Find the Hopewell Farm link and coupon code on the Onyx Network website at unxnetwork.com. That's unxnetwork.com.
Friends, I want to remind you, we'll talk more about this at the end, of course, is joining the Onyx Network. You know, we just finished our Onyx Network Ghost Conference or Paranormal Conference, the X-Con. That was October 11th through the 13th. And I will show you the evidence as soon as I get done going through it, because that place is incredible. I got to tell you, the first year we were there, and it was our 2nd anniversary of the Onyx Network, and we saw these shadow people floating across the room in front of us. It was the stage, the audience, and I was in the back selling books and such, and it just passed right in front. And Michelle Roos, who runs Riverside, Iowa Paranormal, she's sitting next to me going, did you see that? And I saw it. It's crazy. And the haunting was great. And so that's one thing you can get tickets to the Onyx Network's X-Con next year. Hopefully we'll be back there. There's the blog, there's the newsletter, the magazine that comes out monthly. And again, we'll be talking more about that towards the end of the show. But it's simple to go to unxnetwork.com, drop down a little bit, and put your email in, and you'll get the magazine emailed to you once a month. with some of the best writers in paranormal. Who knows? Maybe we can even get Tawney to write something up for us, because she's got quite a reputation there. But consider that. And again, we'll talk more about it at the end. It's time to get back to Tawney, though, because I know she's got more stories for us.
Too many stories.
I know. I start forgetting. Oh, wait a minute. I forgot this part. So much has happened, and apparently to you also. How about the Midwest? Have you got to spend much time St. Louis, Chicago, Kansas City area?
No, I've been to Chicago a few times for work a long time ago. And it's funny because I tell people I don't like Chicago, but I think it's because when I've been, it was just for work. And I would go, I would fly in, I would rent my car, I would lock myself in my hotel room, and I wouldn't do anything. I'd never toured it. And so I am coming in June of next year. I was invited to a Paracon called Windy City Parafest. And so they're still finalizing everything. And so I'll start advertising that soon on my social media. But yeah, they contacted me a few weeks ago, and they're going to have me as a speaker and probably teach a class as well. So I get to go back to Chicago. So I'm excited.
Is that going to be one of Troy Taylor's things, or is that somebody else putting it on?
Somebody else, my understanding. I could be wrong. Okay. Somebody else. So they reached out. Yeah, they reached out to me via Instagram and just to confirm a few things. But yeah, I'm excited because now I will actually get to investigate while I'm there. So we'll see the locations and what part of the city you'll be in, and it's gonna be fun. Yeah,
sounds like it. Chicago's got a great history with the gangsters and all of that stuff. Mm-hmm. And it's got its share of other things too. St. Louis, if you get the chance to get there, that is New Orleans' sister city.
Oh,
because it's connected on the Mississippi by the Mississippi River.
Have not been there. Would love to go to St. Louis, Missouri, right?
Right.
Would love to go there. Oh my God.
Oh, you've got to get down there to the Lemp Mansion, the Lemp Brewery. All incredible places.
See, that was one of the places I talked about in one of the specials, the Lemp Mansion. I think it was probably Scariest Places in the World. Nope, Scariest Places in America. I talked about, and I remember talking about it. I was like, okay, like I have to go to this place. It sounds amazing. So yeah, I'll make it a point at some point.
Got to. Where else have you been?
Okay, let me scour America right now. I did a random to you. I was like, where have I been? New Orleans, again, one of my favorites. I love New Orleans. Here in Los Angeles, this is one that's a lot of people don't really know about. It's the Silent Movie Theater. And that one is in Hollywood. It's changed ownership quite a few times, but I've been invited there twice to investigate. Mm-hmm. It's something I always tell investigators when they're coming here. I'm like, go check out the Silent Movie Theater. The owners are usually very cool. Like, yeah, please come in. Like, not a problem. What I love about that one is usually you go into a haunted location. People assume all the spirits are from the 1900s, 1800s. But with the Silent Movie Theater, they're from the 90s. It was a murder. Yeah, murder took place there. The owner of the property, he was with, what do you call it? Like he had an affair with someone, and that person wanted to take their money and take control of their finances. And so he hired a hitman to kill him. And so, yeah, so this happened in the lobby. When I first went in there, I remember I didn't know the background, but I asked one of the other investigators, I said, do me a favor, don't tell me too much. Tell me if somebody was shot in their head, because my head is killing me. And she says, yes. I said, okay, done. And so that's kind of another example of the intuitive, because I don't want to be that psychic medium that's like, I feel, I see it. It's like, no, like you just see, I like to confirm. I'm like, cool, I got it. And then I'll continue on and we'll do an actual investigation. And so, yeah, very cool place. We wanted to investigate the owner's office upstairs, and they said he does not like people in there. And on the spirit box, it said, sir, can you give us 10 minutes, please? I promise we will leave. And he said, 10 minutes. And we did it. And then after a minute of some time, he says, you can leave now. You clear as day. He's
really?
Yes. And I was like, and it's time to go, because I don't want to see papers flying everywhere.
So this was over a spirit box, or just you heard it?
Spirit box. Yeah, it was. It was quite a few of us, and we were like, okay. And I said, yeah, but I like to use that one as an example when teaching, just because he's known to not want people there. He's not. Mm-hmm. He's not evil. He's just. He's the same.
It's his office.
Yeah, he's just like, I don't like people in my office. I was like, sir, we will be in here for 10 minutes. Can you please? And he's like, you're literally, I'm giving you 10 minutes. And then he's like, okay, out, like get out. And we got to respect it. And that's where some investigators might get in trouble. They're like, screw you, I'm going to stay here for 3 hours. Then things start happening. And they're like, why are things flying around? But no, it's a very cool location. So silent movie theater, Whaley House, I've investigated quite a few times. That's one of my favorites. The spirits there love attention. They want you to come, especially Violet Whaley. She will just set off your REM pod nonstop. Mr. Whaley, I have on camera. I have a photo of him. I caught the photo about 12 years ago, and I thought it was someone else. But when I went last year, I was like, who's in my photo? Was it you, so-and-so? And nothing happened. And I was like, wait a second. This is you, Mr. Whaley? And everything starts going off. I was like, so really? I've had a picture of you this whole time. I thought it was someone else. But yeah, Whaley House is one. They do, I think, nightly investigations with a professional paranormal investigator who's great. Where else? Winchester Mystery House. That one's in San Jose. That one was interesting. It's very large. That's another one where I would say probably if they allow multiple days, because it's so large. The portions of the house that I was in, I personally did not pick up anything or didn't feel anything. So I don't know if there's another part of the house that might have a lot more activity. I do think it might be played up more with the like it's haunted. It's like it was okay. And then let's see, I'm trying to scan the United States. And then I did a few places in Orlando, Florida. There was a lot of in downtown Orlando, and I cannot think of the names. There's just a lot of bars, and I got to tell you, pretty much every single one of them, we picked up activity. So I would say downtown Orlando, just pick a place. Just pick a place. Because that whole area, we went in quite a few different, I was like, oh, everything's being set off. They want to communicate. I think it was a speakeasy at one point, or, it was there's a lot of energy in that location.
Florida was not big on following American laws when it comes to prohibition anyway. So
yeah, that one was years ago too. I remember I caught a really clear picture of a man's face. Again, it was like we went in every single one in downtown Orlando, and it's just a lot of people, they don't really think of downtown Orlando to go investigate. And so I'm like, no, like seriously, if you happen to be in the area or you're at Walt Disney World or whatever, and you feel like investigating, definitely go down there and do some investigation. You will definitely pick something up.
Last January, I was in St. Augustine. Have you been there yet?
No, but one, I talk about it in that special, and two, I've heard many investigators tell me I have to go. Many have told me. Yeah,
you've got to go. I'll back that up all the way. Wow. Anywhere else in Florida or in that area?
No, just the downtown Orlando areas where I was at, and then I'm just scanning if there's anywhere else. I might have talked about most of them here and there, because I used to travel a lot for a job that I had, and so I would always try to stick in an investigation. Another one here that's really cool that most people love is the Queen Mary. I've investigated that quite a few times. Highly active. Another one where you'll never be disappointed. You go at any point, at any area of the ship, and you're going to pick up something. What's cool is that they have an investigator that's now stationed there, and she does investigations all the time there. And she's great. Like, it was the last time I went, she was able to handle a group of like 20 plus people by herself, and we were able to get a lot of evidence. And so I would recommend the Queen Mary if you come down to Los Angeles.
Okay. Have you tried any place with battleships like the North Carolina here in Wilmington?
I have not. The closest, I forgot. The closest is the Ship of India. The Star of India. That's in San Diego, California. Star of India, they do not like women. Just a heads up to anyone that goes and see. Yeah, the Star of India. That one is next to the Berkeley. The Berkeley is a ferry. That's also in San Diego. And the reason I brought that up is because there's an old submarine right next to it. When you said battleship, it made me think of the submarine. But the Star of India is very, very active. It's a museum during the day. The owner is, again, very welcoming, like, hey, come on in and investigate. However, my experience is that the spirits there are very, they don't want the women on board. They'll communicate, but they'll be very disrespectful. They will talk to men, though. And so that's one thing I noticed about that one. Is
that a cultural thing? Are you dealing with spirits from another culture?
I'm trying to think. It was a minute ago. This is what it felt like at the time. It felt like just captains and sailors that were like, women, you're trying to talk to me. you need to just go down and cook. I don't have anything to say to you. I'm going to talk to this guy here and have a beer. That's how it came off. Very, they were like, oh, okay. And this is just how they talked to all the women, any other women that was involved, that they communicated more with the male investigators.
I know the older ships, women were considered bad luck. Most of the old ships, they didn't want women on board at all because they felt that was bad luck.
That's exactly
In
how.
fact, the Mary Celeste, some of the sailors didn't want his wife and daughter on the ship because they said it was bad luck.
Yep.
And then they all disappeared off the ship. So.
Oh no, that's how they talk to us. Like, we don't. Why are you here? Go away. Very disrespectful. Not evil. Just like we haven't done to say to you. Go away. And so that's but it's cool regardless if anyone wants to investigate Star of India.
Did you ever get into the silent movie theater projection booth?
I did not. Sorry, I had to think about it. You know what? I think we did. I want to say the second I went twice. I think the second time we did. If I remember correctly, it was like a tight space, and me and the other investigator were trying to get in there. But I don't remember anything substantial that may have happened for us.
The Fox Theater in St. Louis, the projection booth is a no women area because they said it was bad luck to have women in the projection booth.
Wow.
And a few years ago when I was investigating there, another guy with the same group took a tour in there and with a woman on the group, and the headphones lifted up and got thrown at her.
See? Nope.
So I'm wondering if you tried that, but if you've been in there, I guess not. But I was thinking maybe that projection booth has the same superstition.
Maybe. Yeah, that nothing happened when I was there, but that's incredible.
Okay.
Holy hood. I'm trying to think. Oh, and there's one more place I wanted to throw out there that a lot of people don't know about. Is in Williamsburg. The hotel that I stayed at, which was a Hilton, the Powhatan. It's called the historic Powhatan Resort or something. My friend says, "Oh, by the way, your hotel used to be a plantation." I was like, "What? Huh?" Yeah, used to be a plantation. And when you first enter this beautiful property, there is a historic building right in the center.
Okay.
It was built, I believe, in the 1600s. And when I got there, I said, I have to investigate this location, and they only allow it for people staying in a hotel. So I was an exclusive. It was great. And so after checking in, I went and signed up, and I did an investigation that night. And I meant to bring that up. And it's a beautiful location. I don't think a lot of people know about it. And I hope it gets out there more because it's gorgeous and it's absolutely active, not just on the inside of the property, but also on the outside. That was one where I was just trying to enjoy myself during the investigation. And I felt a female, very, very thin, very petite, blonde. And she was very like, why are there so many people here? I needed to be clean. And and I just kind of kept it to myself. And then they said, this was the room of Elizabeth. And I was like, they said Elizabeth was very petite. And I was like, okay. And so that's, again, an example of the intuitive aspect where I was like, okay, so I picked up on her in this room. But no, very cool. It's called the Powhatan Manor. And that's in Williamsburg. And so I don't know if the Hilton will allow, I'm sure they will, outsiders to come in, but they might say you have to be a guest. I have no idea, but yeah.
You were only 6 or 8 miles away from the Yorktown battlefield where the Revolutionary War ended.
I heard, and I didn't have time, and I wish I had went. Yeah. I was like, oh, I should have stayed longer. Yeah, we were only in Williamsburg. I want to say like a day and a half, but we did drive to Monticello, so I was able to enjoy that. That's one place I would give anything to investigate. I doubt it'll ever happen, but I hope it maybe one day. But beautiful property, and I felt as well a lot of energy there.
It would be interesting to get into that room where his mistress lived.
That's exactly where I was standing, and I said, "Oh God, please let me investigate here one day, one day, please." And then my sister as well. She started to feel really sick near there's a slave burial ground more south of the property, and she's like, "I don't feel well." And I was thinking to myself, she's a psychic, but she pretends like she's not. And I said, "Let's go further away." And she immediately felt better. And I told her what was in that space. And she's like, oh, that makes a lot of sense. And so, yeah.
You've had quite an adventure in the last 13 or 14 years. What's your next plans? Do you have any place specific you're looking forward to getting to?
I don't know. I'm open to everything. I'm really happy about the last month when I got to travel the East Coast. That was really cool, and I think I'm going to do that again. I was invited to teach at Lilydale, New York again next summer, and so I'll probably create another 2-week trip where I get to hit places like St. Louis, or Waverly Hills. So I'm going to try to expand it because that was really awesome, and I just genuinely enjoy learning about these properties and learning about the people who used to live there. I just think it's fascinating.
Did they have pretty accurate information on the Lemp family?
They did. Yes.
Good.
Yeah, they did. From my understanding, God, I have to get there. I want to go there so bad. But yeah, that was cool.
Seen some of these shows where and I'm sure you've done the same thing. That's not what happened.
Yeah.
That is not even close. What the hell are you talking about?
My apologies in advance if you watch it and I say something completely wrong. So you're like, oh, she's wrong too. But that's okay. I haven't been. I'm going to be there soon. So
well, I was talking to a guy recently who was talking about how bad they were treated at the Ohio State Reformatory and men were beaten and all. It was a boys' school, right? It was never a prison.
Wow.
The Ohio State Reformatory was a reform school for young men.
Yep.
Not that there weren't bad things that happened, but come on.
Mm-hmm.
Just read a little bit. Check the history. You'll find out. Give me one more good story before we go.
Oh, let me think. I'm just skimming. Let's see. Okay, I told you Powhatan. Like, where have I been to that I haven't thought of? Let's see. You know what? So I'm just thinking Lilydale. So I taught at Lilydale. I would also recommend that to anyone that are.
What is Lilydale? I don't know that place.
Yeah, so Lilydale is a spiritualist hamlet. It's located. I want to say about an hour away from Buffalo, New York. Okay. And it's world renowned. And basically, in order for you to live there, you have to be a medium. And it's lovely. I would recommend it not just for psychic mediums, but anyone that just wants to just enjoy, that loves spiritualism or beautiful properties, because all the houses are from anywhere from like 1850 to 90. Yeah, it's gorgeous. And so it's a big deal. Every year, hundreds of people apply to teach at Lilydale. And during the summer, it's almost like a Disneyland where people go and they go for classes. They go to hear speakers. They go to walk the grounds to get spiritual messages from mediums. So I'd say the busiest season, June to early September. And so they invited me there in 2022 to do a paranormal investigation and also teach a class. It was fantastic. My evening investigation, though, I had over 70 people show up. And so that let me know that people want to investigate. They want to just learn. Yeah. And so they invited me back this year. And so I taught a workshop, and I also did 2 paranormal investigations. And they rarely, if ever, let anyone investigate, because this is it's very spiritual, and this is the land means a lot to them. And so I make sure to be very, very respectful while I'm there. However, they want to talk, and they were very positive. I got a lot of owners. So, for example, there was one location where the person who owned it, he was there, and he was communicating with us through everything, actually. The dead bell, the spirit box. Oh my God, what else did we have? We had everything, tripwire. The reason I had so many pieces of equipment is because I think for that one, 40 people show up. And then we went in one location. There was one building where I had a young lady do the spirit box, and she had to stop because there was a spirit who was just a grumpy old man. And he was just like, I don't want you here. Go away. Why are you guys doing this? This was my house. And she was like, I'm uncomfortable. And I was like, sir, can you please leave this young lady alone? I'm sorry, we won't be in here much longer. Like, if you don't like this, please just step away for a little bit. And so that's just kind of a general, I wanted people to know about Lilydale. They did invite me back for next year. And so if you want to learn more about Lilydale, definitely Google it, learn more about it. And hopefully you come next year, because I'll be doing probably more investigations, because it always sells out. And they usually have me there in August. So just keep an eye out on the calendar of events. And
it'll be on your social media. Where do people find information about that?
Yeah, it will definitely be on my social media, also on the Lilydale's website. Their calendar, there we go. That usually is not released until January of each year. So keep checking that out. But you can find me online, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok at Intuitive Tawney. And if you want to reach out to me, you can also DM me on Instagram. That's the one I usually check the most.
Okay. Well, this has been a really exciting time. Your personality and your enthusiasm is contagious. No
Thank
wonder
you.
they're all signing up for your stuff.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that.
And the shows are Scariest Places in America, which is on Tubi.
Mm-hmm.
Scariest Places in the World, which
Yep.
is a sequel.
Yep.
Famously Haunted Hollywood.
That starts October 9th.
And when does My Haunted Hometown begin?
Yeah, so I can actually back up just a little bit because we have a show. I have a show called Paranormal Revenge that actually airs in Canada on CTV Sci-Fi or Crave Network. So anyone in Canada, you can check that out. And then My Haunted Hometown is in Canada and the United States. In Canada, it is on TNE Canada, and then here it will be on Haunt TV, which will be streaming. I don't think it's streaming just yet, but very, very soon. I have to get the date.
And again, you're the one of the experts they go to?
Yeah,
so
for every single show, I am one of the experts. Their producers just interviewing me and just asking either my opinion or also just giving my professional insight on the situation.
Okay. Well, I look forward to seeing them because I believe you said some of these are on Tubi, Samsung, and Roku.
Roku, Sling, the Haunt TV. I have to get the date. I know that because it's already My Haunted Hometown has already started airing in Canada, but I don't think it started airing in the United States yet. So I'll have to get that date as well. But yeah, everything else you can catch on Tubi. Scariest Places in America, Scariest Places in the World was my favorite. That one was great. So that I would recommend that one first. And then Famously Haunted Hollywood. I haven't seen it yet, but that one's October 9th.
Well, Tawney, you've been an outstanding guest. Thanks for coming on.
Of course.
And hopefully I can get you back here sometime. We'll talk, send some more of that evidence.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having me. And yes, I love talking about this. So whenever, feel free to invite me back.
All right. Well, take care, and I'll talk to you again soon, okay?
Of course. Bye-bye.
And if you're traveling, be safe.
Thank you so much.
Take care. Wow, that was a powerful interview. We was rocketing around on that one, but a lot of good information, a lot of good places she advised, places, many of them I haven't been to. So I got to say that was a really fun interview. Some of them get a little bit of a downer. Some of them get a little bit far out, but she was really, really awesome. Folks, the Onyx Network, onyxnetwork.com, go straight down, put your email address in, you get access to the blog. And I got to tell you, the blog has just been burning up lately with, we had cube-shaped UFOs like the Borg were coming, right? We had Mothman being seen over the Mississippi River recently. We've got all kinds of stuff going on. That Mothman thing worries me because if he's a harbinger, I've heard rumors that the fault there, the New Madrid fault, was starting to maybe be a problem. I don't know. Hope not. Because that is, if it ever went again like it did in 1811, it's going to destroy the Midwest. At any rate, a lot of stuff going on, and you get the blog, you get the newsletter, and of course you get the magazines I was telling you about. Now, I have articles in most of them, not all. The one on your left, I had 2 articles in, one on the haunted battleship North Carolina, and the other one on legends of Halloween. And I'm not talking about the headless horseman or things like that. When I was a kid, they used to tell us about razor blades and apples, injecting drugs into the candy, cults kidnapping blonde-haired, blue-eyed children to be sacrificed, just all kinds of weird stuff they used to talk about. And what I did on that article was trace those back to where the legends came from, because all legends have a kernel of truth. And that's where I went on that one. The other one has a magazine, had a lot of time travel stuff in it. And that's the way it kind of works. Sometimes it's ghosts, although there's always other stories in there. Ghosts, witchcraft, fairies and elementals, time travel, cryptids, vampires. I had 2-issue articles, one on vampires in America and the other vampires in New Orleans. So it was a lot of stuff going on in that magazine. And again, if you sign up, it's free. They don't sell your information, but you get that magazine every week or every month. I'm sorry. So what are you waiting for? It would be silly not to. Plus, we have the XCon. But other than that, I'm afraid I am going to have to move along. So once again, I want to advise you all. Here it is. We're in October. It's the heart of the great Halloween season, which we all love. Watch the candy. I'm not worried about razor blades and the apples. I'm more worried about my waistline and my heart. So you guys be careful. Have a great time. And above all, especially this time of year, y'all stay spooked, okay? Good night.